beyond the boundaries of reality, where imagination weaves dreams into existence. Welcome to Storylight. In the heart of the valley, where mist rolled over the hills like whispers of forgotten dreams, lay the village of Renswick. It was in, or so it seemed. The people tilled the land, mended their homes, and gathered around the great oak in the square for stories. But there was one rule in Renswick. The children were warned. The elders whispered. And when travelers asked, they were met with blank stares. To outsiders, it seemed a superstition. To the villagers, it was survival. Because each night, when the last candle flickered out, Edric, a young scholar with ink-stained fingers and a mind too restless for village life, had always questioned the rule. Why do we pretend it doesn't exist? He asked his grandmother once. She only shook her head. It is not for us to remember. But Edric. One evening, he found an old buried beneath a loose floorboard in the village library. The name on the cover had been scratched away. Inside, the pages spoke of a door that led to Evernight. And the last passage read, _ if you find this, do not go looking for it. It is looking for you, _ Edric's blood turned cold. Then a whisper, barely audible. _ you should not have read that. _ Curiosity, Edric's greatest flaw, overpowered his fear. He packed a satchel and set out before dawn, following the journal's directions. The ruins lay beyond the eastern ridge, tangled in vines and silence. He searched for hours until he saw it. It was made of no handle, no keyhole, just an inscription. _ to enter Evernight, speak the name it stole. _ Edric frowned. What name? A gust of wind whispered through the ruins. Then, beneath the rustling leaves, he heard _ you already know it. _ His heart pounded. And before he could turn away, Edric barely had time to react before he was. Darkness swallowed him, thick as ink. The world on the other side was no stars, no sky, just an endless expanse of shifting shadows and distant echoes. A soft glow caught his eye. A woman in a flowing silver cloak stood before him, her face obscured by a veil. You are not the first to come here, she said. Nor will you be the last. Edric swallowed hard. Where am I? Quote. She lifted a pale hand, pointing behind him. He turned and saw but something was wrong. The houses stood untouched. Yet, shadows moved between them, flickering like broken reflections. His breath turned to ice. This was Renswick. This was it. Trapped in Evernight. And something within it. Edric felt his pulse hammer in his throat. He was staring at that should not exist. A village of flickering shadows, of houses untouched by time, yet the woman in silver watched him. You are in the echo, she said softly. A place between memory and oblivion. Edric swallowed. Why does it look like my village? Quote. Because your village has forgotten. The words chilled him. Forgotten what? Quote. The woman stepped closer. There, and the name of what watches them in the dark. She reached out, touching his forehead with one finger. Memories. He saw glimpses. People who once walked Renswick streets. Buildings that once stood, now gone without a trace. And slipping through his mind like mist. Then the shadows. Edric spun around. Figures stood at the edges of the empty village. Tall, faceless. The silent ones. The woman's voice was barely a whisper. They know you are here. Edric's breath caught. The silent ones did not move, yet his instincts screamed. Who are they? He whispered. The woman turned away. They were once people, just like you. Edric's skin crawled. You mean? They crossed into Evernight and lost their names. The Silent Ones stirred at her words, as if remembering. The woman's voice dropped lower. Names are power. Lose yours, and you become one of them. Edric clutched his chest. How do I leave? Quote. She lifted her silver veil, revealing piercing. You must find the Speak It Aloud, and Evernight will let you go. Edric's mind reeled. A name the village had erased. The Silent Ones began to drift forward. The air around him grew thick, pressing in on his thoughts. A whisper slid through his skull. Underscore. Give up your name. Stay with us. Underscore. A sharp shot through his temples. No. No. He had to hold on. The woman grabbed his arm. Run. They ran through the twisted village, the Silent Ones. Their footsteps made no sound. Only the whisper of shifting shadows. Edric's thoughts he was forgetting things. His parents' faces. His home. The woman pulled him into inn. Inside, the air felt. Faint echoes of voices whispered through the walls. A massive mirror stood in the center of the room, cracked but reflecting. Not Edric's reflection. But the reflection smiled. Underscore. You are almost one of us. Underscore. Edric staggered back. The woman grabbed his shoulders. Find the name. Quickly. Quote. The mirror. The reflection stepped forward. And the Silent Ones were. The reflection reached for him. Edric clenched his fists. He had to remember. His village erased something. Someone. The journal. The inscription on the door. Underscore. To enter Evernight, speak the name it stole. Underscore. A name. A name. Then. The moment the name left his lips, the world. The Silent Ones froze. The reflection in the mirror. The shadows. For the first time, Edric could see. People. Villagers. Names lost to Evernight. The woman in silver. You found it. The mirror cracked. And the darkness. Edric gasped, waking up on the forest floor. The ruins of the temple loomed above him. The door to Evernight was. Had it all been real? His hands trembled as he reached into his satchel. They were still there. But now, the scratched-out name on the cover had returned. Underscore. Aldrich Renswick. Underscore. Edric's blood ran cold. The village had erased. And Evernight had never forgotten. As he made his way home, the village seemed. People hesitated when they saw him. As if they were trying to remember something just out of reach. That night, as he lay in bed, he heard it. A faint at his window. Edric turned. Outside, standing just beyond the tree line. His face was familiar. And his eyes glowed. Waiting. The story ends here. But countless others await in the vast expanse of imagination. Subscribe to Storylight for more journeys into the unknown. See you on the next adventure.